My family treated me like an ATM, believed a sister's deceptive narrative, and ostracized me from our Christmas gathering. So, I orchestrated an unforeseen conclusion to our dynamic. At 32, I'm a tech professional in Seattle, enjoying a comfortable life with a stable income and solid benefits. I'm not one to flaunt wealth, but I'm financially secure. This security led me to believe it was my duty to support my family. After all, family is supposed to be a unified front, right? I became the de facto provider over the years, handling everything from my parents' home repairs to my sister Vanessa's wedding expenses. Initially, I didn't mind, it felt good to ease their burdens. Then there's Vanessa, 26, married to Matt, a man who essentially mirrors her every thought. She's pursuing a psychology degree and is incredibly intelligent but also a master manipulator. From childhood, she was the golden child, a charming and effervescent personality who effortlessly won people over. This charm meant she never had to face consequences. The favoritism was blatant, she received the new clothes, the best toys, and all the attention. As the older, responsible sibling, I was expected to be self-sufficient and undemanding. My parents simply assumed I didn't need much, and I never complained. I worked through high school and college, saved my money, and stayed out of trouble. My role was to be the quiet, responsible one. Vanessa, however, always knew how to get what she wanted. At 16, she needed a car. Since my parents couldn't afford a decent one, they asked me to dip into my college savings. I was working part-time at a hardware store, diligently saving for my future. But my mother's family should support each other speech left me feeling like I had no choice. Vanessa got her car, and I moved on. When she got into a prestigious out-of-state college, they again turned to me. This time, they wanted me to defer my own graduate studies so they could allocate funds to her tuition. I resisted, but the familiar refrain of family obligation resurfaced. Vanessa played her part perfectly, promising, "I just want to make something of myself, and Dean, I promise I'll make it up to you someday." By her wedding a few years later, this pattern was firmly established. They needed help with the extras for her dream wedding. "It's just a little for the flowers," they'd say. "You don't want your sister to be disappointed on her big day, do you?" I'm still not sure why I always caved, perhaps it was guilt, or maybe I just wanted to avoid the inevitable drama. Either way, I always stepped up. I became the family's financial safety net, to the point where they no longer asked, they simply expected. For a while, I justified it, telling myself that my comfortable job and financial stability meant it wasn't a hardship. It was easier to keep the peace. But a lingering feeling of being taken for granted persisted. I'd achieved every benchmark of a successful adult, stable job, nice home, no debt, yet it felt like none of it mattered. I didn't fit their vision of a perfect life, with a wife, kids, and staged holiday cards. My parents' subtle jabs about grandkids and settling down felt like constant reminders of my perceived shortcomings. Meanwhile, Vanessa could arrive at Thanksgiving with her life in shambles, and they'd still be beaming with pride just for her existence. My value was contingent on my utility, not my identity. It was exhausting. Their expectations grew with every favor. It was no longer about my ability to help, but about my obligation to do so. Any hesitation or refusal was met with a guilt trip. "Don't you care about your family? You're doing so well, why can't you just help out?" The requests became demands. Vanessa never showed gratitude, instead, she acted entitled to my assistance. She was a master of victimhood, twisting any pushback or boundary setting into a sob story about her own struggles, which my parents eagerly accepted, always casting me as the antagonist. This year, the charade finally ended. It's unbelievable it took me this long to see how dire the situation had become. I was so used to being the unquestioning enabler that I was blind to the extent of their exploitation. But Vanessa's final move was a breach of trust from which there was no return. A week before Christmas, my mom called. I sensed her syrupy tone, a telltale sign she was about to deliver bad news. After some pleasantries, she dropped the bombshell. "Listen, Dean, we've been thinking. Maybe it's best if you don't come to Christmas this year." I was floored. "What? Why wouldn't I come?" Well, she said, her voice dripping with artificial softness, Vanessa mentioned some things you've said, and we just don't want any negativity ruining the day. Negativity? What are you talking about? What did Vanessa say? After a hesitation, she sighed. She told us you've been saying hurtful things about Christmas, that you hate spending money on gifts and think our celebrations are a waste of time because they're all about her. My voice rose. Are you serious? I never said anything like that. Well, she said, sounding unsure, Vanessa seemed pretty upset. She said you've been telling people how much you don't like our Christmases and how they aren't worth your time. I was stunned. Not only was this a brazen fabrication, but the fact my mother believed her without a second thought was deeply painful. This wasn't the first time Vanessa had spun a narrative, but this was a new low. I tried to reason with her, explaining I had been planning their gifts for weeks. But her mind was made up. We just think it's better if you sit this one out. You've seemed a little distant lately, and we don't want any tension. I realized then that arguing was pointless. Fine, I said, my tone clipped. If that's what you want. It's not about what we want, honey, she insisted. We just think it's for the best. Sure, I said, my sarcasm evident. Merry Christmas, Mom. I hung up, feeling not anger, but a profound exhaustion. I was tired of defending myself against Vanessa's fabrications, always the villain in her story. The next day, Vanessa called. I knew she was calling to gloat, but curiosity got the better of me. Hey, Dean, she said, her voice unnervingly cheerful. What do you want, Vanessa? I didn't bother with pleasantries. Well, listen. I need a little help, she said, as if nothing had happened. My grad school tuition is due soon, and Mom and Dad can't really help right now. I was hoping you could pitch in. I was speechless. Are you serious? You just got me uninvited from Christmas, and now you're asking me for money? There was a pause. Oh, come on, Dean. That's not what this is about, she said, her tone light and dismissive. Christmas is one thing, but this is important. It's my education. My blood boiled, but I forced myself to remain calm. Vanessa, do you even hear yourself? You lied to Mom and Dad, got me kicked out of Christmas, and now you want me to fund your education? Does that not sound completely twisted to you? She sighed, treating me as if I were a child throwing a tantrum. Dean, don't be so dramatic. Mom and Dad just wanted a peaceful Christmas, and you've been kind of negative lately. Besides, this isn't about Christmas. It's about helping your family. There it was, the well-worn guilt trip. It was her signature move, using the family card to manipulate me. I'll think about it, I said, cutting her off. Great. Thanks, Dean. I knew I could count on you. After she hung up, her audacity left me reeling. She had successfully turned my own family against me and then had the gall to ask for money as if it were business as usual. I realized this wasn't just about Christmas or tuition, it was about years of being a financial doormat. I wasn't going to let it slide this time. The next day, I called my mom and demanded a family meeting, me, her, Dad, Vanessa, and Matt. We're sitting down tomorrow and we're talking about this. My mom tried to deflect, as usual, but I was resolute. I just got exiled from Christmas over a lie. We're going to discuss it. She reluctantly agreed, pleading with me not to make a big thing out of it. I said nothing. The next evening, I arrived at my childhood home. It no longer felt like a place of warmth, but a place where I was merely tolerated. I wore jeans and a hoodie, no pretense. Vanessa and Matt were already there. Matt gave his usual avoidant nod, while Vanessa didn't even look up from her phone. My mom emerged from the kitchen with coffee and cookies, as if this were a cozy get-together. What did you want to talk about, Dean? My mom asked after a tense silence. I wasted no time. I want to talk about Christmas and how I was uninvited because of a completely fabricated story Vanessa told you. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Oh my God, are you still on about that? Yes, I said, pulling out my phone. Because I have the texts to prove it. Her smug expression faltered. I showed my mom a text from 2 weeks prior where I asked Vanessa for gift ideas, stating I didn't care about the cost, only about finding something meaningful. Then, I showed her Vanessa's reply, "Why waste money on gifts they don't even appreciate half the time?" The room fell silent. "So, tell me again, Vanessa, how I'm the one who hates Christmas and doesn't want to spend money?" Vanessa, though cornered, doubled down. "You're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be." "I didn't mean it like that." "Didn't mean it like what?" I retorted. "You deliberately misrepresented my words to Mom and Dad, and now you're trying to say it's not a big deal?" She glared, but her confidence was crumbling. "You're overreacting." I turned to my mother. "Am I?" "You believed her without even asking me. You excommunicated me from Christmas based on her word alone." My mom was speechless, looking to my dad for support, but he just stared at the floor. Then, Vanessa pivoted to her classic victim narrative. "Okay, fine," she said, her arms crossed. "Yes, I said that. But do you want to know why? Because I've been under so much pressure. I'm barely holding it together, and now you're dragging me through the mud just to make yourself look better." My mom's face softened instantly. "What do you mean, honey? What's been so hard?" Vanessa sniffled dramatically. "Grad school, for one thing. And we're still trying to pay off the wedding. Everything's so expensive now. It's not like I have someone swooping in to save the day for me. I'm doing the best I can." She shot me a pointed look. I scoffed. "You've got to be kidding me. You literally asked me for thousands of dollars yesterday. You don't get to play the no support card when you've been leeching off me and Mom and Dad for years." "Dean, that's enough," my mom snapped. "There's no need to be cruel. She's clearly struggling." "Cruel?" I was incredulous. "She lied about me, caused this entire mess, and I'm the bad guy for calling her out?" "Yes, you are," Mom said, her tone firm. "Because instead of trying to understand her, you've spent this whole time attacking her." I was flabbergasted. "So, I'm the one in the wrong? Are you even listening to yourselves?" "We're hearing you just fine, Dean," she replied. "But we're also hearing that you don't seem to care about what Vanessa's going through. I've been supporting this family for years, and this is how you repay me?" I asked, my voice rising. "This isn't about repayment," Dad barked, speaking for the first time. "It's about doing the right thing. Vanessa is your sister, and she's going through a tough time. Instead of embarrassing her like this, you should be helping her." I laughed bitterly. "Helping her? That's all I've ever done. But every time I set a boundary, I'm the villain. Do you have any idea how exhausting that is?" "You've always been the dependable one," Mom said, her voice softening. We didn't think you minded helping out." "Well, I do mind," I stated firmly. "And I'm done." Matt spoke up quietly. "Maybe we should all just calm down." "No," I cut him off. "This is the problem. Every time I stand up for myself, I'm told to calm down. Meanwhile, Vanessa gets to lie, manipulate, and take whatever she wants without any consequences." My mom's voice wavered. "Dean, we didn't mean to make you feel this way. We just wanted to keep the peace." By throwing me under the bus, I finished. "That's not keeping the peace. That's choosing sides, and it's always hers." I looked at Vanessa, who was about to speak. I didn't let her. "Here's what's going to happen. If you genuinely think I should pay for Vanessa's tuition, despite her disrespect and all her lies, fine. I'll do it. But the moment I make that payment, I'm done. No more money, no more favors, no more holidays. Consider it a final act of support, and this time, I mean final. You can either keep treating me like the family ATM, or you can start treating me like a person. But if you choose the first option, don't expect me to stick around." I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and walked toward the door. "Let me know what you decide," I said over my shoulder. And I left. The silence that followed my departure was deafening. No calls, no texts. I expected them to try and break me, to guilt me into coming back. But this time, I felt a strange sense of calm. I had said my piece, holding nothing back. It felt liberating. The next evening, my mom called. "Dean, can we talk before Christmas?" "It's important." I answered, my voice neutral. "What's going on?" "I just wanted to make sure you're okay," she said, sounding nervous. "This has been a really difficult time for everyone." "I'm fine," I said shortly. "Is that all?" "I was hoping we could all put this behind us. It's Christmas, after all." The let's sweep it under the rug approach. I'd seen it 100 times. "Mom, this isn't about dwelling on the past. It's about setting boundaries. I've made my decision and I'm sticking to it. I will not continue to be used without any respect in return." She sighed, then her tone shifted to one of resigned acceptance. "If that's really how you feel, then we'll respect your decision. We don't want to lose you, Dean." I almost laughed at the irony. "A big part? You mean the part that pays for everything while getting nothing in return?" "That's not fair," she said, her voice strained. "We've always appreciated everything you've done." "No, you haven't," I said bluntly. "And that's the problem. It's not about the money, Mom. It's about the fact that you all took me for granted. Do you have any idea how that felt?" "I'm sorry, Dean," she whispered. "I didn't realize how much we hurt you." "An apology doesn't erase years of disrespect," I said calmly. "I'm stepping back. I'm sending the payment to Vanessa's school, and after this, I'm done." "Okay," she said quietly. "Merry Christmas, Dean." "Merry Christmas, Mom." After the call, I wired the tuition and sent Vanessa the receipt, no pleasantries, just the transaction details. It felt surreal to finally set that boundary. I had held the family together, and now, I was letting go. I had hoped they would stand up for me, just once, but they were fine with my exit as long as Vanessa got her money. Christmas was a quiet affair. No frantic calls, no guilt-laden texts. It felt strange, like I had stepped out of a role I had been playing my entire life. But it was also peaceful. I spent the holiday with friends who genuinely appreciated me. I realized just how much mental space my family had occupied. Without their constant demands, I had time and energy for myself. But my family wasn't handling it well. My mom called a few days later, her voice overly cheerful. "How was your Christmas?" "It was good," I replied. "How was yours?" "It was nice," she said, a pause in her voice. "Quiet, though. We missed you." The guilt trip. I was ready for it. "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I think some space is good for us." "We need you in our lives," she said, her voice laced with a newfound vulnerability. "You've been so helpful." "I appreciate that," I said, my tone polite but firm. "I just hoped you'd appreciate my help." Then came Vanessa's email, a long, manipulative missive filled with apologies for the misunderstanding and promises to rebuild our bond. I saw it for what it was, another attempt to keep me on the hook. I didn't respond. My parents now send me random texts asking about my job or if I need anything, things they never cared about before. They were feeling the void I left. My mutual friend told me Vanessa is now complaining about how she'll have to struggle without my support. It wasn't a satisfying feeling, but it confirmed I'd made the right decision. My life feels lighter. I'm no longer a family ATM or a scapegoat. I'm just Dean. And that, finally, feels like enough.